Call to order regular town council meeting, August 24th, 2023. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Leyva. Councilmember Greer.
Here.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Here.
Councilmember Hepperly. Councilmember Schumacher.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hunt. Mayor Palguda.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. And also excuse Vice Mayor Hunt. She's at an attainable housing conference, and Councilwoman Hepperly is at Flynn Brown. At this time, I'd like to welcome down Pastor De La Riva for our invocation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, guys. Okay, let's pray. Lord, I thank you for this evening, and I thank you for this amazing community that we live in. I thank you for each one of these council members. Lord, as you know that I do personally, as I pray for them, and I pray that you would bless their service for the peace and the prosperity of our community, and even beyond, even in our state, in our nation, and that laws and what is right and what is good would prevail, that we would be able to continue to live the free lives that we all enjoy. I pray that you would bless every minute of their labor for that purpose. And I lift up these things to you and thank you again. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Item 3A is Proclamation Patriot Week.
Healing Fields of Northern Arizona, Patriot Week, September 9th through 15th, 2023. Whereas from the tragedy of September 11th, 2001, a new spirit has arisen, a stronger sense of family, community, brotherhood, and patriotism, and we have come together as Americans. And whereas America is fully committed to ensuring our freedoms remain unfettered and sovereign for all generations, now and forever. And whereas we wish to honor and remember all of those who lost their lives and who have demonstrated the ultimate sacrifice for their country. And whereas we wish to honor and pay tribute to the men, women, and families who were affected in our town, as well as those who work so diligently to help our people recover. And whereas commencing September 9th, 2023, with the placement of the flags of the Prescott Valley Healing Fields of Northern Arizona, and with the commemoration of the tragic events of September 11th, 2001, we join the entire nation in the recognition of Patriot Day, September 11th, 2023, to remember and to honor the invincible spirit of America and its heroes. Whereas this commemoration should be conducted each September 11th throughout the land to include the promotion of good peace, global peace and goodwill, the advancement of patriotism and love of country, and the remembrance of those innocent victim lives who died September 11th as heroes one and all. Now, therefore, I, Kel Palguda, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, do hereby proclaim September 9th through 15th, 2023 as Patriot Week.
Thank you so much. I'm Pilar, and this is Peggy, and we're volunteers with the Healing Field. Just a quick Patriot Week 2023. Our flags go up on Friday, September 8th, and we're still looking for a lot more volunteers. They will stay up 24/7 throughout the week and come down on Saturday, September 16th. The whole week is considered Patriot Week. And on Saturday, September 9th, we have the Patriot Run, kicking it off first thing in the morning. And this year we've added a special pancake breakfast. At 10:30, we will have the Blessing of the Field, which is always very special. Monday night, which is 9/11, we will have a special ceremony at 6:00 p.m. And throughout the week, I just want to encourage everybody, if you come out during the day and seeing the flags, please come out at night and see them lit up. You have such a different experience, literally night and day. And we just wanted to say thank you to everybody, for Marion Kirk Mallory for bringing it to our beautiful town, and Heidi Doms Foster for being such a special chair for the whole event.
Next proclamation is National Assisted Living Week.
National Assisted Living Week, September 10th through 16th, 2023. Whereas in 1995, the National Center for Assisted Living established National Assisted Living Week to honor the contributions of assisted living communities in providing long-term care to America's seniors and individuals with disabilities. Whereas this year's theme of National Assisted Living Week is Season of Reflection, highlights the incredible care provided by essential caregivers and the special bonds created in assisted living facilities across the country. Whereas assisted living is a critical long-term care option for older adults and individuals with disabilities that fosters choice, dignity, and independence, assisted living communities are committed to excellence, innovation, and the advancement of person-centered care. Whereas during this special week, assisted living communities across the country are encouraged to organize activities and events which celebrate the dedication of staff, the individuality of residents, and the deep connections formed in these settings. Whereas not only this week, but every week of the year, the Landings of Prescott Valley has made it their mission to enrich the residents' lives through giving comfort, outstanding care, making lasting memories, honoring life stories, and recognizing uniqueness, while at the same time helping bring peace of mind to their families and loved ones. Now, therefore, I, Kel Palguda, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby proclaim September 10th through 16th, 2023 to be National Assisted Living Week.
Thank you so much, Mayor Palguta and the council. And I would also like to thank Vice Mayor Lori Hunt, who has been to our community many times and participated in our events. And we've appreciated her support so very much. We have so much fun at the landings. We have dancing and live music. We have spiritual services. We even have miniature horses that come in, and we really try to make it a very fun place for our residents and our staff. The assisted living industry as a whole has improved tremendously throughout the years, and we continually strive to be even better at delivering care and helping seniors to live happy and fulfilled lives. Every year, we actually try to check an item off the bucket list for our residents. And so, in other words, we help them to be able to do something that they've always wanted to do but never really had the chance to. And we have a lot of fun with that. Supporting assisted living is very important because statistics show that most of us will eventually need some type of assisted living services and help. And standing with me today is truly the most outstanding care team that I've ever had in my 14 years of doing this. And about a year and a half ago, we all sat down together and we wrote our mission statement for the Landings of Prescott Valley. And we have truly lived that out every day. And we were so thrilled to see our mission statement included in the proclamation. So we just thank you very much.
Come up. Right here, we'll set up. We got a new photographer. We'll just wait for him. We're just gonna listen to Latoya.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
We're gonna be good.
You're good.
It's just gonna work right here, guys.
This is great. Thank you.
One more time, everyone. Oh, wait, no. You be clap. Next up, call the public. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters listed on the agenda or solely on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. Any persons wishing to address the council must register their names with the town clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting. The council's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Such remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Clerk?
Carrie McCann.
Welcome, ma'am.
Hello. When I was being raised, my parents insisted that the way to judge a place was by its doors, its front door, its entrance, any entrance. And I am microphone. Can you hear me? All right. I consider Robert Road to be like the side entrance to Prescott or the back door to Prescott. And it's really deteriorated. A lot of weeds, several cars parked in front yards, pallets, automotive parts lying. And I feel badly for the folks on Robert Road who do keep up their homes nicely. But there are so many homes there that are just an eyesore. And all they need is a cut lawn or some trees trimmed or what have you. And the empty lots, I don't know if that's a city's responsibility or if someone owns that property that could, is responsible for keeping them tidy. But I'm proud of my town. And I like to make a good impression when people come. And when they come in through Robert Road, it's ew, you know? So I don't know what can be done about that. I read some time ago in one of the little newsletters, there was a number to call call some city department to take care of or to visit these people and tell them to keep things in order. But this is not a huge world-changing issue, but I just think it makes sense to have, when people come in to Prescott, to have a nice entryway. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Clerk?
Ken Frund.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Just a brief, this is my first time speaking to the council. I've lived here for over 5 years, and it's just gotten to the point where I feel like I have to say something. The council has, in my eyes, become a rubber stamp for every builder who wants to cash in on our lax oversight of overdevelopment in this area. Recently overturning the recommendations of the zoning commission has made a joke of that process. Allowing apartments and other high-density uses to avoid having to consider future water supply, the 100-year rule, is endangering the very future of our town. It's a tick by ignoring that and just rubber stamping every building project that somebody wants is a ticking time bomb. And if we don't pay for it, our future generations will. And it could make the town into a ghost town. It could make it into a place where you can't even sell your property. As part of this, I'd like to see you stop the observatory project rezone. We don't have to rubber stamp everything just because somebody wants to make a profit here. The 100-year water projection rules are another joke. Weather forecasters can't even accurately predict how much rain we will get from what's left of this monsoon season. So how can you? It's just hocus pocus to imagine that we can tell what's going to happen in 100 years as far as rainfall goes. We've already lost 4 wells due to human activity and contamination. We're already seeing the level of local wells going deeper, having to go deeper, and going dry. We cannot keep building at this rate. Don't Phoenix or Prescott Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Medford.
I'm sorry, clerk, who's next?
Pamela Medford.
Welcome.
I come from Prescott Country Club, and I object to the observatory project. You're putting it right up next to the Prescott Country Club. You're putting 6 to 9 manufactured homes per acre. Think of that, per acre, 6 to 9 manufactured homes per acre right next to the Prescott Country Club. We have paid $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 for these homes. These homes are supposed to be kept in pristine shape. Our yards are supposed to be looking good so that our home values stay. But with this manufactured home, you're going to basically trash this whole area. And I'm sorry, I used to live in a manufactured home, so I know how manufactured homes can be done and made to look nice, but they still do not hold the value of a stick-built home. You're wanting to rezone this to a commercial so that he can bypass the 100-year water law, state law, and he can, according to Mr. Fain, he can haul in water or he can capture rainwater. Really? On the rain we get here in Prescott Valley, he's going to capture rainwater. Now, I've also been told that these people are going to have to pay $600 a month lease on this land. So tell me, who's profiting from this? It's not the people of this community. It's not the people who are going to have to pay $288,000 for a manufactured home, because that's the minimum he's putting it on, that they have to pay for a manufactured home. What I oppose is that you're going to have 6 to 9 of these manufactured homes per acre. It's going to look like the manufactured home park that you have up on the hill off of 69. It's going to not beautify this city, which was beautiful a few years back, but it's gone downhill big time. You don't even mow the medians, you don't mow the streets, you don't take care of what you have. So how are you going to take care of what you're going to be building in the future? You can't, because you have no pride of ownership, none of you. I've never seen it from the P&Z. I haven't seen it from this council, because all you want to do is build, 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 and ruin people's lives.
Ma'am?
Bill Williams. Bill Williams.
Hi,
Welcome, sir.
my name is Bill Williams. A couple of weeks ago, I announced my candidacy for town council, and my issues are slow, explosive growth, ensure clean drinking water, and balance the budget. So I want to talk a little about remembering our past mistakes. And I want to talk about 2 citizens groups who have actually accomplished something. One gathered thousands of signatures in a short period of time to stop a development. They also raised a lot of money, and that could be used, if they decide to, for an attorney to sue to stop, wait for it, 2,000 new homes. It's practically a done deal, thanks to your planning and zoning people. So, you thought the 564 project was bad. How about 2,000 homes added on top of that? I won't name them because they told me this in confidence. But this and the next group I'm going to describe should show council, and based on the folks who just spoke, mayor, town manager, planning and zoning, there is a groundswell of discontent here. We've had it with bad development plans. A group called Superstition Hills United has an interesting story you might remember. This is part about remembering your past mistakes. A slick Willie New York City salesman comes to town and meets with ex-mayor Skoog and ex-councilwoman Nye and the chosen ones on P&Z and says, I'm going to build you a university, but you have to give me Some of that land, that state land near the border of your town. What do you need? They say, 50 acres. No problem. But he comes back and he says, I can't use it unless you rezone. No problem, whatever you want. So he builds classrooms and offices and a cafeteria. And the cabal says, how about we name a road after you? Surely the post office can give you 10,000 University Drive for an address. So he names himself chancellor of the university. Problem is, nearly no students, nor classes, nor diplomas. But the residents near Superstition Road got years of dust, bulldozers, and ruined views of the valley and Mingus Mountain. So he goes back to Skoog, Nye, and the P&Z cabal and says, I can't make it financially. I'm pulling up stakes. I'm moving to California. So in comes a new hero that we have now. And he tells Planning and Zoning Commission he will buy the 50 acres and the buildings because he wants to subdivide. But he needs a new rezone too. For multi-story apartment buildings, 85 homes, some to be 2,000 square feet. But the residents in Superstition Hills United Group are saying, here we go again. I have the plat and their colored artwork on my phone and photos of the mothballed buildings and the padlocked gates. Meet me outside, I'll give them to you. We'll talk about you signing my petition so I can get on the August 6th ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Clerk? Agenda item 7, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, we've all had a chance to review our packet. Now is your opportunity to remove an item. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve all matters listed under the consent agenda as presented by electronic vote.
I second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Lucy Leyva, how do you wish to vote?
There.
It passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 8A, FDP 23-009, 5 Star Sheds. Mr. Ruby, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. FDP 23-009 is a request by Mr. Chuck Merritt for approval of a final development plan for a wooden storage manufacturing business facility located on approximately 1 acre. And the site is located, it's located somewhere. It's actually located within the Antelope Meadows Industrial Park, approximately 560 feet north of State Route 69 and 675 feet from State Route 69. The proposed building is a pre-engineered 104-foot by 48-foot deep building for a total of 4,992 square feet, 4,992 square feet. The building will include one bathroom, ADA handicap accessible, and the manufacturing facility would actually manufacture wooden storage sheds and would not be open to the public. They're direct sales only. The remainder of the site would be used for dead storage. And all traffic from the site would utilize Coldwater Lane. One parking space is required for every 2 employees. Since the building is to be used only for manufacturing sheds, the calculation comes to 4 parking spaces, one of them being an ADA space. The plan actually includes 10 parking spaces, including the ADA space. The requirement that the business not be open to the general public is included as a condition of this approval. Traffic impact is expected to be minimal, about 12 vehicle traffic trips per day, which is the employees to the facility. Landscaping will include a low water plant palette, variety of tree types, shrubs, and ground cover. Landscape character of the proposed development will include a wide variety of plants that will provide year-round color. The applicant will be required to provide a future sewer stub out, dry sewer stub out, for future tie-in to town sewer. The project will also require a separate sign permit for building and signage. And per our town code, the lot must be fenced and screened for dead storage use. The proposed use is consistent with existing uses in the area, the Antelope Meadows Industrial Park, and is congruent with provisions of the M1 zoning district and the PAD 5-2 designation in the general plan. The town may authorize signature by the mayor of resolution number 2023-2323 to approve this final development plan, final 23-009, or you may direct staff to make modifications to the final development plan prior to approval or decline to authorize the signature and approval. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have. The applicant, Mr. Chuck Merritt, is here and would be happy to answer any questions as well.
Council, have you any questions for Mr. Ruby?
I have one. Do you know how many people this is going to employ?
I believe it's 8 persons.
Thank you.
I have one comment. I just want to thank him for bringing your business into our town.
No other questions? Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 2023-2333, adopting final development plan for the FDP 23-009 for 5 Star Sheds by electronic vote.
Have a second?
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
It passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 8B, Grant Award, Department of Emergency and Military Affairs. Sir, welcome.
Evening, Mayor, Council, staff. For your consideration tonight is the award of $257,000 approximately in grant funding from the Department of Emergency Management and Military Affairs. One of the primary missions of our police department is to reduce crime and the fear of crime, and I'll tell you later about some examples of other jurisdictions that have employed some of the technology that we're going to talk about, and they have some very exciting examples of how this system does directly reduce crime and thereby the fear of crime. So a little bit, if we can go back one slide. Yeah, so the Department of Emergency Management and Military Affairs reports directly to the governor's office. There's several different departments that are part of it, but the important part is back in 2022, there was some funding that was made available by legislation through the state legislature so that towns and counties and other government bodies throughout the state could ask for funds to support the mission of reducing the impact of things at the border. It's called a Border Support Fund, excuse me. So we were awarded $257,000 over 5 years. The reason it goes out 5 years is some of the things that we're going to consider purchasing tonight with your approval involve a subscription service where there's some ongoing fees each year. It's going to combine the enhancement of our unmanned aerial system program, aka our drone program, which has been in existence since 2022, with a license plate reader program, which will begin with a 12-month pilot program. So again, we're going to improve community safety. The things that are going to purchase are some cameras that we're going to employ on the roadways. I'll describe how those work, how they examine vehicles as they pass, in particular the license plates, to detect things like stolen vehicles and vehicles involved in major crimes. And then we're going to add 2 unmanned aerial systems. I think this is working now. There we go. So current state where we're at, and this is kind of one of the reasons that we asked for the funds for our unmanned aerial systems, our drones, was that right now we have hobbyist drones. So these are drones that are available off the shelf to anybody. They're under $1,000, and they're really not as robust as they need to be for the usage that we have in law enforcement. So essentially, they're just less reliable than currently available commercial-grade unmanned systems. So the 2 purpose-built drones, let me talk about the capabilities of these drones, and I won't go through every one, but one example of the difference between what we have now and what we're going to get a hold of with these grant funds is weather and wind. So the drones we have right now, they can't fly in any more than 15 miles per hour wind, and that's most days in Prescott Valley. So that's that's somewhat dysfunctional, so we've had some limitations there. The new drones can fly up to 33, 35 miles per hour winds. So they're going to be much more useful to our investigations unit that primarily deploys these systems. Weather, right now we can't fly in rain, snow. The new systems will be able to do that. A couple of other highlights real quick. Spotlights. The new systems will have much brighter spotlights that can be employed. Public address where we can actually speak to people. There's a recent example of a situation down in the valley where a drone was able to move into a residence where an armed person was barricaded, speak to that individual through the drone, and he walked outside and surrendered to the SWAT team. So there's some real significant uses to us to be able to fly these drones outside as well as inside, speak to people, take images, and be able to relay information directly back to command teams as well. When, for instance, our SWAT team is out in the field going after, a suspect, or if we're out in the field looking for something or maybe somebody's missing. So ALPRs, they've been in use since the 1970s, believe it or not. So an automated license plate reader is what I'm talking about. And back then what it was an actual real camera stationed on the side of the road, and a motion detector would click it off. And then once a day or once a week, whatever the department had scheduled, they would go in and develop film, look at license plates. And what they were looking for is the same thing we're looking for today. Is we're looking for the license plates that are on stolen vehicles, that are on vehicles that we have a reasonable suspicion or probable cause to believe are involved in the commission of crime in our community and elsewhere. We're looking at individuals involved in drug trafficking, people with warrants, and vehicles involved in serious crimes like homicides. And so it's developed quite significantly, obviously, since the 70s. And 3 other Yavapai County agencies have already deployed these systems. Some of the examples I'll give you later come from one of our neighboring agencies that has already deployed these systems. So basically what it is now today is digital camera. They can be on a pole with power to them. They can be on a pole with solar power. And they're taking multiple still images of the rear ends of each vehicle as they pass. So they're not capturing facial data. They're not capturing information we're going to use or would even consider using for things like facial recognition. They're simply capturing the license plate. There's software that reads the plate. They're capturing the image of the vehicle. There's software that figures out what kind of car it is. They're capturing the color. They're capturing specific data about each vehicle that passes. And immediately that data is compared to the database that it's tied to. And there's two databases really that we tie to. One is the Arizona Criminal Justice Information System and the National Crime Information Computer. And so local and national vehicles, again, that are connected to crimes or wanted for crimes are immediately checked and verified. And then if it is actually a hit, then the hit gets communicated to dispatch immediately, as well as the vehicles that we have in the field. So they know that, hey, a vehicle just passed this location that's wanted for whatever crime it happens to be. So the software, the hardware is pretty advanced these days. It can even sense and capture the information from a vehicle passing as fast as 75 miles an hour. So the fixed post is collecting data 24/7, 365 a year. Each camera can cover 2 lanes of traffic, and again, electrical or solar power. So the mobile APR does the same thing, but it's mounted in a vehicle. There's different vendors and different ways this is employed, but it's basically the same thing. You put a camera in a vehicle, it has the same kind of software on it, it does the same thing, and then immediately that vehicle is alerted if there's a vehicle that passes it, or the vehicle passes a vehicle that's on the list, so to speak. And then other units in the area are also alerted as well. And so you can imagine the coordination that then would occur. The vehicle's passing this location, the officer finds it, and we do our best to apprehend that vehicle as safely as possible. I probably said a lot of that already. So again, there's two databases we compare to. I mentioned a CGIS and NCIC. There's also a hot list. So that's more of a localized list that each agency that maintains its own automated license reader system employs. And so an example would be if one of our detectives has probable cause to arrest an individual that's committing residential burglaries, but they haven't obtained a warrant yet perhaps, or they haven't gone through that step to get that vehicle entered. They can, with that probable cause, they can enter that vehicle's license plate into the system, and then if we see it, then we can apprehend that burglar locally, even though it's not part of that national database yet. In addition to that, we can also do a historical search and look at past data on that vehicle. So again, same detective working a burglary case, if he's got 12 different locations he suspects of that individual and that vehicle in particular being involved in burglaries, perhaps that information of where that vehicle has showed up in the historical information in the town on automated license plate readers can help them to connect that vehicle to those crimes. So obviously there's some concerns that people will voice, I think very appropriately so, about privacy and data. And first of all, the biggest point here is that license plates for years, decades, have been ruled by our Supreme Court as public information because everybody can see it. And that's generally the rule that the courts apply, is if it can be seen by anybody, it's public information, it's not protected data. So there's a number of cases that are listed here, as well as in the next slide. And what they're saying is that the courts have consistently supported the use of license plate reader technology. There are some controls that are needed. Go ahead. So I'll get into that in a little bit more detail. Some things that it employs I haven't mentioned yet. Data automatically deletes every 30 to 90 days. So one of the bigger concerns, again, about privacy is the retention of an individual's data. Well, there's no individual data in the system. The only information in the system is the vehicle's license plate, and again, it's a red Ford or a, whatever it is. And so there's no personal information. But beyond that, the town of Prescott Valley, the police department, we plan to go to that extra step. We're going to delete data in 30 to 90 days. That'll be part of the pilot project. I'll talk about it here in just a second. So we're going to do a 12-month pilot project. There's some questions we've already kind of worked out as far as how do we want to answer these questions? What are we going to do in relation to each of these questions? I'll just pick one out. Have a clearly defined policy. We just communicated with the legal department. We think we have a great policy right now in place. Obviously, during this pilot project, though, we may find that we need to make some adjustments. So that's one of the things that we'll do, again, if approved through this 12-month pilot project. And with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Thank you, sir. Would this work in coordination with like Amber Alerts? When
Yes.
there's an Amber Alert that goes out for a specific license plate, you'd be able to enter it or do whatever to help out?
Yes, any kind of, Amber Alert, Silver Alert that's out for the community to try to help look for somebody, that's going to come up there as well.
You mentioned, I believe you said YCSO has this project?
YCSO is looking to put them in place, yeah.
Excellent.
There are several other jurisdictions, though, that already do have them.
Great.
And again, to expand on that a little bit, Mayor, we've already had discussion with these other agencies, and there's a strong plan to work together, so there's not redundancy. We're not spending unnecessary taxpayer money or grant money and duplicate efforts. So we will work closely with those agencies to make sure that we do it together.
I think it's a great tool. As we all saw, Prescott Valley is the 8th safest city or town in Arizona. And this is a tool that I think can definitely help us fight a little more crime. Council, we have any other comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 2023-2335, approving the grant agreement between the town of Prescott Valley and the Department of Emergency and Military Affairs, known as DEMA, in the amount of $256,791.26 for prosecution and imprisonment for border-related crimes by electronic vote.
Can I have a second?
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
It passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, item 8C, bylaw amendment, Board of Adjustment. You can clap for that. Absolutely. Whenever the town can move in a direction to make our residents safer, it's always something to clap for, so you're more than welcome to. Item 8C, bylaw amendment, Board of Adjustments and Planning and Zoning Commission. Ma'am, you are not Mr. Ruby.
I'm sorry, what?
You're not Mr. Ruby.
Nope. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Donna Kennedy, Director of Development Services Department. We are here today to seek your approval to amend the bylaws for both the Board of Adjustments and the Planning and Zoning bylaws. They have held their public meetings on the Board of Adjustments was on July 24th. Planning and Zoning was on August 14th. Both approved the amendment to be in conformance with our town code, the zoning code for Chapter 13, regarding the vice chair to automatically be put into the chair position after a year of service. Board of Adjustments went through clearly, but Planning and Zoning did take it a step further, in which I'm happy to say we've scheduled a study session for them to discuss other amendments that they'd like to bring forward and potentially be in our code amendment or zoning code update in the fall. So on August 31st, we're holding a study session for them, and we're going to review with our legal department all the amendments that they want to consider bringing forward to you again. So at this time, we just asked to bring it in conformance, and then we will report back to you any other findings that we have from the commission to move forward. We're working with the chairman on this and trying to organize their thoughts in a specific way so that they understand any unintended consequences that may arise from their amendments. So at this point, I'm open for any questions and seek your approval for the amendments to be in conformance.
Ma'am, thank you, and thank you to staff for recognizing that we just need to update some things every once in a while around here, and this is just one of the ones that we put on the list. So it's important to be in compliance, and I appreciate your time on this. Council, you have any additional questions? Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to ratify the amended bylaws of the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of Adjustment, referencing the Town Code, excuse me, 13-29-020B by electronic vote.
Have a second.
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
It passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to bounce back to item 5, council communications. Council, starting on the end. Councilwoman Greer, would you have any comments? Councilwoman?
I attended the Coffee with the Cops yesterday, and it's a privilege to meet with the officers and our community in this particular instance, it was at Pronghorn. And if you have an opportunity to come out to one of these Coffee with the Cops, I'm sure that you will enjoy it and get to know our officers in a much more intimate way. Thank you.
Councilwoman, you have anything?
Not at this time.
Councilwoman?
Well, I just want to, Kendall, for inviting me over for the beautiful celebration of life for your husband, Jerry. And it was a great celebration. So thank you for making us a part of such an intimate, event for your family and for you. So I thank you for that. And it was great to even though after the fact, but get to know more about your husband.
And folks, I didn't mention it at Call the Public, but by all means, anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns that they wish to address with council, our doors are always open, and I welcome you to come down to Town Hall, or if you want to just meet somewhere else and have a cup of coffee. I'd love to have the opportunity to interact in a two-way conversation, so please keep that in mind. Mr. Davidson?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the only thing is, at last 2 weeks ago with our meeting, I failed to mention the monthly report is available online. So if you have any questions about activities from the prior month, and we're working on next month's report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll bounce to the end, folks. All good things must come to an end, and I will get a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Can I have a second?
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
It passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks, everyone, for coming out, and please drive safe.